Hi, buddy. Are we having a good walk? Come on. Hey Flosstube, thanks for stopping by my channel. My name is Shiloh and I'm a cross stitcher, knitter, and crocheter living in Nova Scotia, Canada. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as @Xstitchmd, and I'll have links in the drop-down box down below with all of the projects I'm working on in case I enable you, which I hope I will. So lots to show in this episode. I have 2 projects I'm so close to a finish on, and I'm hoping to get 2 stitchy finishes in the next few weeks. I also have some finished knitting projects and some progress on some crochet projects. I also want to tell you all about my trip. We got back a couple weeks ago from an amazing 2.5 weeks in Europe, and it was just amazing. So I'll put all that in at the end, in case you're not interested in that, but like, why wouldn't you be? Because it was amazing. So first things first though, let's go over the giveaway I had last episode. So I was giving away a copy of this amazing book, Cross Stitch in the Forest from Max Pigeon. And I had 230 or something entries, and the winner is Troy E. Gullett 3191. I hope I said that right. I've put your comment in right here. So if you could send me an email, which is linked down below, with your mailing address, I will get that out in the mail to you. So congratulations. Okay, let's just dive right into the stitchy stuff because there's a lot to talk about. I pulled out some old whips that I hadn't worked on in a while and figured it was about time to get some of them done. So this first one is Sacré Coeur, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, which I think means Sacred Heart in French. And this is a Long Dog sampler piece. I started this all the way back in 2020. And really the reason that I got hung up on it and did not finish it, because it's not a very big piece, was all the backstitching. So I had loaded this project into Pattern Keeper, which doesn't show backstitch. And because there's a lot of backstitch, I was having to refer back and forth from Pattern Keeper to the chart, and it was just kind of annoying. But I recently pulled it out and was like, oh wait, if I load this on Markup instead of Pattern Keeper, I can see all the backstitch. So I did, and I've been pretty much stitching on it nonstop since then. And I am almost done it. So here is where it's at. Honestly, I could have probably just finished this last night, but it got to the point where your eyes are closing while you're stitching. And I was like, if I keep going, I'm going to make a mistake. So I probably have like 300 stitches left to go for a finish, but here it is. So literally all I have left to do is the other part of this. There's a little crown here and a little crown here, and then I'm done. But doesn't it look so good? I'm so happy with how this is turning out. So I'm stitching this with DMC 3685, 2 strands over 2 on a 32 count piece of linen. This was in my stash. I mean, I started in 2020. I didn't write down what it is. I'm not sure what it is. It is definitely something Zweigart based because of the thing there. But yeah, I love all this. So you can see, yes, I started in 2020. With grand plans to finish it. I really enjoyed stitching this motif here with all of the back stitching in it. And all these swirlies are so fun to do as well. Oh, look, it like perfectly matches my nail color. I literally just noticed that. As you can tell, I like this color. So yeah, this will definitely be a finish before my next video. So super happy to have another Long Dog piece complete. This next whip is also so close to a finish. My plan is to bring it to Stitch North. So I'm going to the fall edition of Stitch North next weekend in Brampton, Ontario, and I hope to see a bunch of you guys there. I'm planning to bring this with me to Stitch North and hopefully get a finish there because I started it at the Spring Stitch North in, was that in April or May? Can't remember. one of those months. I started it then with my friends Lauren, Liz, and Elizabeth, and I know Lauren finished hers and everyone else has been working on theirs, and none of them will be at this Stitch North, which is very sad, but I thought it would be very appropriate to finish it at the Fall Stitch North. So the project I'm talking about is the Skipjack Sampler by Ardith Design, and I'm stitching mine on a absolutely beautiful piece of Lugana from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. I heard she's going to be vending at Stitch North again, so I will probably have to buy more fabric. It's this beautiful 32 count Lugana. The colorway is called Lilac Amour, and I'm stitching it with a Roxy Flosstube conversion. I'm so close to being done. I just have to finish the sail and then this motif right here. So like not more than a couple hours of stitching, if that, and it will be done. So yes, I will have another finish very soon. It's just like, get all of your projects to be almost finished, bring them to a retreat, and then you can get all these finishes at a retreat. I'm gonna finish the long dog before then though, hopefully. All right, the next whip I'll show you is Delightful Waltz. So this is a full coverage design by Artisy. The artist is Leonid Afremov, and I started this in, I think it was May, and worked on it pretty much monogamously for quite a while over the summer. I did take a break from it and worked on some other things, which was good, but I'm really itching to get back to it and get some more progress. I am stitching this one on a piece of 20 count porcelain Aida from Roxy Flosstube, and using all the called for DMC, one strand over one Aida square. So it's looking so good. I am officially over 50%. I think I'm at 51.8%, something like that. And it's just so pretty. I will admit I was getting bogged down a lot in this section because there's a lot of white stitches, and white on a cream fabric is not particularly interesting or fun to do, but getting to mix in these beautiful reds and pinks has been really fun. So I'm trying to decide. I think I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom on this side because I've almost reached the bottom before I start working across. But yeah, I just love this. It's so pretty, and it's nice to hit the 50% mark. Woo! So that is that piece. The next one is a piece I started at the retreat I went to last October in London, Ontario, Jacob Palooza. So it feels very appropriate to be showing it, where it's 1 year anniversary basically since I started it. And that is a Chircha and Gircha by Modern Folk Embroidery. And this was the retreat piece for the retreat, which I got there, started there, and I've kind of been working on intermittently over the past year. It is a lot of thinking going into it because I am adapting it. I'm changing the initials, changing the dates to be things that are meaningful to me. And so it requires a lot more thinking than just sitting down and stitching a monochromatic long dog piece, for example. It's also on 46 count, which I enjoy, but I do need good lighting to do. So it's not a late at night and I'm tired piece. So here's where I'm at. I have almost made it across the full width of the sampler. Like I said, this is 46 count speculoos linen by Roxy Flosstube and all the called for Roxy Flosstube colors. The pale color here it's actually showing up okay. It shows up pretty good in real life. So this section is what I worked on since I last showed this section right here. And I changed the initials here to SG and SG. So both my husband and I have the same initials. His first name is Spencer. So I put both of those there. And then I also changed the years to be 1990 and 1990. We were both born in 1990. So I thought that was fun to have there. I put October 2023. I think that showed that before. That was when I started this. And I'm just going to kind of do some random dates throughout. I think I want to put maybe the year that we got married, and maybe the year we got engaged, maybe Sam's initials, which he also is SG, and maybe his year he was born. Just some like little fun things like that with the rest of the personalization. I have gotten a little bit bogged down on these beautiful Frisian alphabets. They're stunning, but this back stitch is so time consuming. And there's something about backstitch, which I can see it on markup, which is great, but you can't like mark it off. And there's something really satisfying to me about marking off the stitches as you complete them, see the number go up as you're completing stitches. And with backstitch, you're working on it for hours and there's nothing to mark up and there's no count of it. So anyway, it's a beautiful sampler. I will continue to work on it. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it's coming along. This next piece, I had grand plans of starting and finishing in September. There was a slight snafu. That being, I was gone for 2.5 weeks in September on a trip, and I packed this and I packed a bunch of other stitching projects, but I forgot to pack my hoop. I could have stitched in hand. I tried it for one piece and I felt like my stitches looked a lot different than the stitches I had already done with a hoop. And I have tried stitching in hand. I just am not a fan of it. I love my hoop. I've used that since I've been stitching at, age 11 or 12. So I'm not changing. Anyway, so that was sad. So I didn't do any stitching on the trip, which was very sad, but I did bring a lot of knitting, which was great. And I got a ton of knitting progress, which you will see. So that being said, I didn't work on this piece at all. And that was very sad. But one of the good things that came out of that is I was thinking about it and I thought maybe I'd want to change something up a little bit. So let me tell you about the piece first. So this is September's Return by Maximum Cross Stitch. And when I saw this piece, I loved it, but I felt like the alphabet, I wanted to do a quote or something instead. So I reached out to Ellen, the amazing designer, and asked her if she had like a lowercase alphabet or something I could use to like chart out this quote that I wanted to put in. Well, instead, what Ellen did was just charted the quote for me, which was so sweet and amazing of her. So I'm gonna put the picture here of what the updated version looks like, and this is what I'm gonna be stitching. So I loved this quote when I saw it. I can't remember who it's attributed to, but I thought it was like just perfect for this piece, especially where it's saying September's Return. Anyway, really excited to work on that. So I did get a decent start on it. Here's my little start. Let me just fold this up here. These houses are so cute and really fun to stitch, and I got to start on the cornfield here, which has been really fun. I'm using 36 count vintage country mocha linen, an old standby for me, and all the called for Roxy flosses. Blanked on the word floss, apparently. Yeah, so a little start on it. This was a couple days worth of stitching, and then like I said, I went away and did not have my hoop. So I will work on this again. I'm definitely going to bring this to Stitch North because I'd love to get some good progress on it. I'm excited to get to all the words because that's like really the part I was super excited about for this. Yeah, so a sampler September fail, but a win in another way, right? All right, 2 more whips to show you. This next one I started probably also back in 2020 or 2021 and hadn't really worked on it, and I kind of pull it out every once in a while. The main limiting factor on this one for me is that it's stitched in silks, which are beautiful, but I find them super slippery, and so I can only work on it in small doses. So this is Ackworth Birds 2 by Xstitchmd, and they had actually sent me a full kit of this project, which is why I'm stitching it in silks, which was so lovely and generous of them, and I do want to finish this because I love it. So here is where I am at. So I worked on this motif here. The silks are absolutely beautiful, but they're so slippery. So any suggestions people have, because I know everyone loves stitching with silks, but like teach me your ways. So one strand of silk on 36 count flax linen. It's so pretty. So pretty. I do want to work on this some more. Maybe I'll bring this with me to Stitch North and like ask everyone at every table how to stitch with silk. That could be a possible solution. Okay, the last whip I have to show is also a long dog sampler piece. I've been on a little bit of a long dog kick. I definitely want to start another one soon, so maybe that'll have to be a plan at Stitch North. We'll see. But this one is Long Dog Sampler's Pandemic. And this was a beautiful chart that was released kind of during the middle of COVID. That was originally a free chart for a limited period of time. And I think now you can purchase it from her website. I got to the 10% complete mark, which for a chart with 77,000 stitches is no small feat. So let me fold it up and show ya. There it is. Oh, it's just stunning. I love this piece so much. So this was the main area I was working in here when I worked on it this month. And I'm stitching this on 37 count aesthetic white linen by Access Commodities. And I'm using sulky thread, color number 1234, which is very easy to remember, which is this like really dark brown, black. It's just really, really pretty. So, I mean, I'm 10% done, right? The fabric is huge. There's a lot more to go, but I'm really, really happy with the progress I've made. And yeah, it is looking good. Okay, that is all my stitchy progress. I didn't buy very much stash in the past couple of months, actually. I feel like I was just distracted with traveling and doing other things. So I guess that's a good thing because then I can get more stuff at Stitch North. How many times will I say Stitch North in this video? A lot. I did get two things though. So this first one is the newest, was one of the newest charts from Brenda Gervais. So Feels Like Fall. And I thought this was just so cute. I would love to stitch this soon. Yeah, so super cute. I got this from Traditional Stitches in Edmonton, Alberta, or I think Calgary, somewhere in Alberta. And also from Traditional Stitches, I got this Lakeside Linen small cut pack. So there's 13 pieces in here. And they're all different colors, all different counts. The minimum size is 9 by 9. So I thought this would be good for stitching some of the smaller pieces, like some of the Artsy Housewife Patreon pieces, things like that. So really happy to get that and start some things on it. The one thing I'll have to do though is kind of count to see what the actual counts are of this to make sure I am using the right size. All right, that is all the stitchy stuff. Let's move into some crochet. I have 2 corner to corner blankets that I am working on. This first one I have shown before. The second one I started yesterday. So you're getting to see it brand new. This first one I'm doing as a gift for Spencer's cousins. And I made his one cousin a giant granny square blanket. I think I finished it over the summer and he loved it. And then his sister was like, I want one too. So I decided to do a corner to corner blanket instead of a granny square, mainly because I had this set of yarn I had in mind for it, which was a 10 skein fade. And I figured if I did corner to corner, I could do 5 skeins one way and then 5 skeins decreasing. So here is where I'm at. I have finished 2 skeins entirely and I just added in the third, so it's already getting very big, which is good. I am using Knit Picks Hawthorn, so I'm using the Bear Hawthorn held together with a skein of different colors. So I have I have 5 skeins of green, 5 skeins of pink, varying in shade from a dark green up to like a speckle. So I have 10 skeins of this white, and then I have 10 of 5 green, 5 pink. So this should be a good size blanket. If I hold it edge to edge right now, I mean, you can't even fit it in. And this will be a square. So it's a little bit hard to see, but you can see, so I had like this darker green, it's faded into this lighter green, and then I just started the newest green. So I don't know if you can really tell. I really enjoy doing the corner to corner. It's so easy. It's very mindless. You don't have to think about it. And it makes it super easy to make it as big or as small as you want, depending on how much yarn you have, because you basically just go until you've used half your yarn and then decrease. So that is fantastic. I had put this away for a while. I just wasn't feeling crochet for a bit, but I picked it back up this past couple of weeks and have been really enjoying it. So yeah, so I have finished 2 of the skeins, a lot more to go. but there's no deadline on this. She will get it when it's done. This next corner to corner blanket I'm working on, it does have a bit of a deadline. So one of my really good friends is due with her first baby in the middle of November, and I decided I was gonna make a blanket for her. My original plan was making the crema blanket by Andrea of Two of Wands. It's not Andrea, Alexandra of Two of Wands, and I ordered the called for yarn from Lion Brand. I tried to start this last night. I started about 4 times and I just did not like the way my cast on edge looked. I was having some trouble with some of the stitches and I was like, you know what, forget this. I'm just doing corner to corner. I know how to do that. It's easy. So this is the yarn I'm using. So it's Lion Brand Ice Cream, which is 100% acrylic. And there are 394 yards in a skein, so it'll be around 400, 1600, so I have 4 skeins. And I'm using, oh, I should have mentioned that for my other corner to corner blanket and this one, the same one, I'm using a US, I don't think they go by US. It's a G hook, which is a 5mm, which I'm also using for this one. So here's my start. It is so cute. So really interesting. So for the other blanket, I'm holding 2 strands together. This one, I'm just holding a single strand. So this one's looking a lot more like open and lacy, which I think is going to be so good for a baby blanket. I love these colors. My friend has not found out the sex of the baby, so I figured this is a good neutral to have regardless of what it is. So exciting. I can't wait to meet the little baby. Anyway, so that is my little start. I got this done yesterday. Corner to corner goes so quickly. Really happy with this. And yeah, I really got to do some more practice with crochet. I'm very much a beginner when it comes to crochet. I can do granny squares and corner to corner like no one's business, but anything else is a little bit tricky. I especially find it hard when making a starting chain. I find it really hard to keep my tension even, and so some of my starting chain is loose, some of it's tight, and I feel like it makes the edge look so messy. I don't know if that's just like a common thing for people and you like put a border on it to cover it or what, but I'm just like, ooh, I don't like how it looks. It also wanted me to start the crema blanket to, the first row was done in the back loop or the back bump of the starting chain, and my thing was getting twisted. It looked so bad. I tried so many times, it looked so bad, and I was like, forget this. I was so mad. So any tips you have around that, I'd love to hear, because there are a lot of patterns I'd love to do, but as soon as I see that they start with a chain 200, I'm just like, forget this, I can't do this. So is there any tips you have of like keeping your starting chain even? Does it just loosen up as you go and like all look good? Please help. I'm a very beginner crocheter, but I am very much a fan of my little corner to corner blankets. So that has been good. All right, let's move on to knitting. So keeping with the theme of blankets and almost finished projects, let's show you my Sweet Shop blanket. So I had started 2 Sweet Shop blankets at the beginning of the year. The first one was using Polka Dot Creek Yarns Blanket Club, and I am super behind on that. I think I finished 3 rows. And then I also started another Sweet Shop blanket using Woolberry Fiber Co.'s collective colorways. Every month they have 2 colors that come out, and I've been buying both colors in the Berry Merino base. And my plan was to make every month a strip on this other Sweet Shop blanket. Also got very behind on it. I've almost finished the 2nd row. So yes, I literally am like half a square away from finishing the 2nd row, but again, could not manage to finish it last night. So here is how it is looking. I mean, you can just imagine how it's 9 squares across. I am using 2 strands of their Berry Merino, which, well, I guess I'll show you. So this came in the mail this week, which is I believe this is the September collective colorways. So we have Fresh Breeze and Minty. So really excited. Those two are gonna look amazing together. But their Berry Merino base is a 100% superwash merino, 400 yards. It's a pretty heavily twisted yarn. I don't know if you can see there. It's a nicely plied yarn. It reminds me a bit of Knit Picks Hawthorne, but it's a lot softer, I find, than that. So yes, I'm holding 2 strands together, like the yarn doubled on itself. You can see here, to approximate a DK weight, and I'm using a 4mm needle. Yeah, US 6 4mm needle. You probably can't see that on there. So yeah, this is such a fun project, really fun to just pick up and work on when I'm watching TV. I am loving it. So that is, I'm almost finished the second row, which are the February's colors. So yeah, definitely behind on this, but I think the fun in this is just working on it when the mood strikes. The yarn's not going to go bad. It is there for me. And yeah, I think this is going to be a really good size. So I'll fold it in half. That might give a better estimate of the size. So half of the width is that, and it's going to be 9 squares wide by 12 squares high. So I think it's going to be a great size for being all cozy under. So these 2 colors, so I finished all of the purple squares. I'm just adding in, or triangles, I guess, and just finishing off this pink one and I'll be done. And then I started a jelly roll blanket, which is a super fun, scrappy project. I decided to start that with my leftovers. So I had the leftovers from these squares, and then I just finished this one last night and I'm waiting on this one. And I also had leftovers from another project I'll show you in a minute. So I started a jelly roll blanket. So easy, so fun. I originally saw this on Kay, the Crazy Sock Lady's channel, and I'm following her directions. So the pattern does include directions for a DK weight blanket. The original is fingering weight. But I used Kay's count, so I cast on 18 stitches. I think the pattern calls for 15, but I wanted it a little bit wider. So I'm just, again, holding 2 strands together. I'm using double pointed needles. These are a US 5 3.75mm. And yeah, just starting my strip. So these 2 are leftovers from a project I'll show you in a second. And then here and here. So I'm just switching them up, adding them in. So this will be a very long-term project, as it is just going to get scraps from other things, but really fun. And I find it so satisfying to use up every little bit. So this is like how much I had left of my purple, and it's going to be so nice to just fully use it all up. Yeah, so that is the Jelly Roll Blanket by Kay Jones, and the Sweet Shop Blanket is by Laura Penrose, and I highly recommend it. She also has a new one that just came out. I think it was the Stella Quilt, which looks amazing, and I'm like really considering maybe using an advent to do some squares on that, because I have a couple of yarn advents coming this year. All right. So I do have 2 knitting finishes. So one of them is using the pink and gray yarn right here, which is also Woolberry Fiber Co. Berry Merino. So this is the On the Other Side shawl. And this was so fun. I pretty much like started and finished this while I was away. So I worked on this so much while we were on our trip. It was so fun, so easy to work on. So these colors are so beautiful. So we have the pink, I think is called Ode to Valentine, and the gray is Secret Admirer, or it's vice versa. Super fun project. So we have mosaic knitting on one end and then just garter stitch stripes. And it turned out so good. So yeah, haven't woven my ends yet because who wants to do that? That's boring. But yeah, this is, it was a really fun project, really lightweight, 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, easy peasy. I think I need to block this and bring it to Stitch North to wear. So yeah, I don't think I even showed that I had started it, because I think I started it since my last video. So yeah, that was Very, very fun. And she has a lot of other mosaic shawl patterns that I think I will also need to do. The next knitting finish I have is I finished my melt shawl. So this was a knit along I was doing with Lauren, New Hampshire Stitcher, and Elizabeth of Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, and I think I'm the first one to finish, so that's a record. This is absolutely massive. I chose to make the larger version. Honestly, I could have made the smaller version because this is basically a blanket. I'm just gonna get up so you can see how big this thing is. Woo! It's huge. So I used some absolutely beautiful yarn from Cozy Posy Yarn Co., which is a Nova Scotia dyer. And this was from her Taylor Swift collection. So the speckly white is Snow on the Beach. The gold is Fearless and the black is Reputation. Speaking of Taylor Swift, I'm going to go see her November 15th in Toronto. I am so excited. I got the tickets August 2023, so it has been 14 months of waiting. 15 months of waiting. Less than a month ago. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, breathe. Yeah. So this has approximately 100 million ends that need to be woven in. And it is ridiculously large, but it is so warm and cozy. I loved doing this border of the feather and fan pattern here. It looks so good. And then the I-cord bind off, so good. It was a really, really fun pattern. I would not recommend this for a beginner knitter because there's a lot of stopping and starting. There's brioche, there's lace. But if you're a semi-experienced knitter, it is a really fun project. And once you get the hang of the pattern, it's pretty straightforward. But yeah, it is so big. So yeah, you can definitely make the smaller size. I did not need to make the large size, but I mean, it's a blanket. It's a schlanket, right? It's a blanket shawl. It's huge. Super cozy. I might need to, ooh, I should bring this with me when I go see Taylor Swift. We will not talk about how much money I paid for the tickets, but in my defense, I've never seen her before. She's my favorite artist. And they're a lot more expensive now. Spencer's coming with me. He enjoys Taylor Swift. I'm obsessed. He enjoys. And he keeps mentioning how we should sell our tickets because we could probably make like double what we paid for them. And I was like, absolutely not. You can sell your ticket. I am keeping my ticket. But it is crazy how much they're going for. Like, oh my goodness. Anyway, exciting times. All right, one more project, two more projects to show you. Like I said, I worked on a lot of knitting because that was what I brought with me on the trip that I could actually work on. So this next piece was a mystery shawl knit along from Paper Daisy Creations, and this was the Wings of Wonder project. The full pattern is now out, has been released. You can see what it looks like. I brought this with me on the trip. I got through the first 2 clues on my trip, and then the third clue I needed to break into a second skein of my main color, which of course I hadn't brought because, you know, wasn't planning on that much knitting. So I've only finished the first 2 clues, but I am hoping to start clue 3 soon. So here it is. It is so pretty. I will say this section gets slightly tedious. There are 7 contrast colors and then my main color. This is all being knit out of Smash Knits, which is a dyer based in Manitoba, Canada. And it's her basic sock base, which I think is an 80-20 merino nylon. The black is called Black Licorice. And then I have a variety of contrast colors, which I honestly don't have all the labels for. I originally bought this yarn set to knit the project, I think Mountain Musings, which was also a Paper Daisy Creations knit along a couple years ago. And then when the first pattern came out, you had to start in the center, magic loop, and it just looked too fiddly. And I was like, leave that. So when this year's came out, I was like, ooh, I have a kit already to do that with. So that has been really nice to be able to use the yarn I already had. The one tricky thing about this pattern is that, well, not tricky, but one thing to note is that for the 7 contrast colors, you need more than just a mini skein. I think it's like either a 30 or 40 gram skein. So I got this like kit from Smash Knits with that in mind. But if you want to make your own, it's important to know that you need more than just a regular mini skein. This section right here, which is called Birdseed, was super fun to do. Lots of slip stitches. So that is clues 1 and 2. Clues 3 and 4 are the exact same, but reversed. And then clue 5 and 6, you join it all together. So I'm really excited to do that, but I just need to work myself up to casting on. So the cast on is like 192 stitches of this like specific type of cast on, which is not intuitive to me yet. So that has prevented me from casting it on, but I love the colors in this. I am using I'm using the recommended needle, which is US 5, 3.75 millimeter. So that is a wing of wonder, and I need to make the other wing. Okay, the last yarn stuff I have to show you is haul / a new start. So on our trip, we started in Barcelona. I have never been to Spain before. It was beautiful. The food was amazing. I'll talk about it in a minute. But while we were there, I knew I wanted to go to a yarn store to get the yarn for the newest Stephen West knit along, which had not yet been released. It has been started now. I think we're on clue 3. So I went to this adorable yarn store called All You Knit Is Love. And the owner of that store has her own yarn line. So I picked up some yarn for the knit along. So I'll show you the skeins first. So the first one is called Plua, handmade in Barcelona. And the other one is called Camisole. So this is her trace base, which is 100% superwash merino. It's a single ply yarn. Super soft, so pretty. So as you can tell, where did I put with my shawl? I like gray and pink. Just whack myself in the face. I like gray and pink together. So yeah, love these colors together. So I made a start. Here's the thing. I love Stephen West, and some of his stuff is really fiddly. So the clue 1 required you to knit 3 separate semicircles and then join them all together. So I knit the first semicircle and I love it. And then I was like, I don't want to immediately knit 2 more of these. So I left it for a week or so. I actually just cast on the second one. It's in here somewhere. Yeah. Oops, this is all very tangly. So here's my second one, which has been started. But I have not even finished clue 1. But look how pretty this is. I am so happy with this, and I'm really excited to keep working on it. It was more so just the thought of, I just knit this whole thing. Am I going to really knit it 2 more times? But giving it a little bit of time and space, I will go back to it. So yeah, I really, really love this yarn. I really love single ply yarn. It's just so soft and just such a nice texture to feel and work with. So that is the Stephen West MCAL, which is called Go-Go Dynamo. You can see online, there's lots of pictures of what it looks like so far. The final clue is going to be released this Wednesday. But so far, I love the whole thing. So I will keep going with this. And maybe next time you see me, clue 1 will be done. But yeah, so pretty. I think it's so fun to get a yarn souvenir or some kind of craft souvenir from a place you've been to, because I will think of our trip every time I look at this yarn. All right, that is all the crafty stuff. I do want to talk a little bit about our trip because it was just so good. But if you're not into traveling, what kind of person are you then? I'll see you next time. So about our trip. So we had planned this trip back in, I think, December. So we love cruising. We went on our first cruise 2 years ago for my husband's mother's 60th birthday. And ever since then, we've done a cruise a year. You know, we have good jobs. We don't have kids. Now it's the time to travel. So we we planned and booked this cruise back in December when there was like I think it was like a Boxing Day sale, or maybe it was November and a Black Friday sale. Anyway, so we've been planning this for a while. We went on this trip along with Spencer's dad and his stepmom, and two of our good friends who also brought their 15-month-old baby, which was an adventure. And honestly, he did amazing. And kudos to them for doing this. So we had an absolutely great time. So we left from Barcelona. So we flew to Barcelona, stayed there for 2 days before leaving on our cruise. We had a great time there. We had an amazing Airbnb that was really close to the downtown area. We were 500 meters away from the Sagrada Familia, which is this incredible architectural wonder. Spencer had been to Barcelona about 10 years ago, and the church is like constantly being finished and worked on. And so he said it was really cool to see how much it had changed since he last saw it 10 years ago. That was amazing. So much beautiful architecture. We had some amazing food in Barcelona. The paella there, it's just next level. So that was great. And then our cruise left from Barcelona. So we were with Celebrity Cruises. That's the only cruise line I've been on so far. I'd be really curious to hear from people who have traveled on other cruise lines. That's the only one I know so far. So we're like, we know this one, we like this one. We're on their loyalty program now. Let's keep going with them. So we were on the Celebrity Ascent, which is their newest ship. It is beautiful. So it was a 9-day cruise, 2 sea days. So the rest of the days we were at different ports. Let's see if I can remember all of them. So we first were we went to Nice, France, and that was really cool. Never been to France before. So we were in Nice, and during that day, we also went to Monaco, which was super cool to be in this tiny little country. We got to see the casino. There were so many amazing cars everywhere, which was super cool. We also stopped at the village of Ez, which is this medieval village. Absolutely beautiful. So that was really cool. The next day we were in Corsica, which is an island off of France. I think that's right. And the city we were in was actually the birthplace of Napoleon. So that was kind of cool. I will say we didn't have great weather that day. We went to the beach and it was a bit rainy, but still really nice to see everything. Some of the other ports we went to, so we were in Malta. Never been to Malta before, and that was just an absolutely beautiful place. So we were in Valletta, which I think is the capital city, and it happened to be the day of their 60th Independence Day from Great Britain. So they were like shooting off cannons. There was like all kinds of stuff going on. It was such a cool place. We did a lot of shopping there. So they had some really amazing shops, and we also got to go out on a boat tour on the water. So that was super cool. We also went to Sardinia, which is an island off of Italy, which I hadn't been to before. Went to the beach there, which was beautiful. We went to Sicily, which we have been to before, and kind of toured around the town. I think, where were we in Sicily? Messina. So we walked around Messina, which was really beautiful. We then went to Naples, which we've been to a couple times before, and we did a tour there where we went out to the island of, I'm going to say this wrong, I think it's Ischia, which is an island about an hour away from Naples. And we went to a thermal resort there, which was incredible, so beautiful. And then the cruise finished in Rome. So that was super, super cool because my aunt actually happened to be in Rome that day. She was going on a cruise for her 60th birthday the next day. So we were able to meet up with them in Rome, which was so cool. We stayed a day in Rome, did all the sites, toured around, and then Spencer and his dad were actually then flying to Jordan, Amman, Jordan, for a wedding. And Spencer's stepmom and I decided we're not going to that wedding, we're staying in Italy. The weather was forecasted to be in the high 30s. So for US people, I think that's like 110, something like that. It was gonna be real hot there. And we didn't really know anyone at this wedding. So Spencer and his dad went, and Spencer's stepmom and I stayed in Italy. So we rented a car and went up to San Miniato, which is it's in the Tuscany region. So I should say we took the train from Rome to Florence, rented a car in Florence, and drove up to San Miniato, which was about an hour away. Stayed in this amazing Airbnb where we had the cutest Maine Coon cats. The owner had 3 of them. One in particular was always outside our house. She was so cute. Her name was Candy. And we just had 5 amazing days in Tuscany. We did a bunch of different things. We took a pottery making class. We drove out to Pisa. We did truffle hunting, which was so cool. There's this certain breed of dog called the, oh my goodness, Legato Romanella, I think is how you say it, which were literally bred to hunt truffles. So we were like out in the woods, the dogs would smell it, they'd start digging, and then you had to like quickly grab the truffle out of their mouth. They did eat a couple of them. But that was just so cool to see these dogs kind of doing what they've been bred to do. So yeah, we had an amazing few days out in Tuscany, and then it was time to fly back. So the way back, you know, flight delays, missed connections, 20 plus hours of travel later, but we made it back. And thankfully Spencer and his dad made it back because 2 days later the Jordan airspace was closed. So that was fun. But yeah, overall we just had such a good trip, so much amazing food. It was so nice to just have time with family and friends and just make some amazing memories together. It was the longest we've ever been away from Sam. We were gone, I think it was 19 or 20 days. We are super fortunate in that we have a dog trainer who we've worked with Sam ever since he was about 4 or 5 months old. And whenever we go away and don't have any other options, she will board him, and she's amazing. So Sam always comes back from boarding even more well-behaved, which is great. So he had a really good time as well, but it's hard to be away from him for that long. I think most nights Spencer and I would end our night looking at videos of Sam and saying how much we missed him. So yeah, we had a great time though. And it's also really good to be back. Although if I could move to Italy, I think I would highly consider it. For those of you who don't know, my ethnic heritage is I'm half Italian, half Dutch. And whenever I go to Italy, I like to pretend that I'm, you know, full Italian and this is my homeland and all of this stuff. So it's so nice to visit there, and just, it's a beautiful country. So now I've probably got to go to the Netherlands to connect with the other part of my heritage. So yeah, can't wait for our next trip. We're trying to think of where we want to cruise next to. I would love to go to Scandinavia. You know, Denmark, Finland, Norway, that whole area. The one downside is it's not going to be very hot. So we'll see. You can't go wrong with a Mediterranean cruise though. So if you're considering it at all, I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. I can only speak to Celebrity, which is where I've cruised on, but it is amazing. The rooms are amazing. The ship is amazing. The food is amazing. No complaints at all. I would happily just go on the ship and not get off, but the ports are incredible too. So I know my aunt and uncle just went on their cruise, was through Norwegian, and they had a great time as well. So I don't think you can really go wrong, but yeah, it was such a great trip. So, and then of course you come back and right back into work and all the stress comes back. But yeah, it was a really good time, and thanks for letting me share it with you. I hope you enjoyed all the pictures I put out here. Yeah, it's just nice to be able to share these things. I love hearing about other people's travels and getting ideas of where I want to go to next. I feel super fortunate that, you know, I'm in a position where I can travel, that I'm physically healthy enough to be able to travel, and I'm trying not to take that for granted and make the most of it I can while we're both young and healthy. So, all right, well, that's all I have for you this episode. I will be back hopefully in less than a month with a Stitch North recap and hopefully some finishes. Take care, happy stitching, crafting, all the fun things, and I'll see you soon. Bye.